Oh yes, we're doing that podcast thingy. Okay, right, I'm Jan.
I'm Sharon.
And we're menopausal friends living here in France, and we plan to share with you our lives,
Loves.
and laughter, as the saying goes.
There's always lots of that.
We'll be discussing many subjects and also just being us. Enjoy!
Woohoo!
Okay, welcome to this week's podcast.
Hello.
Obviously, we have to start as we usually do with what we've done in the week. So, should we start with your week as usual?
Yes, I had my son, my eldest child, over with his girlfriend this weekend, which was lovely. Picked them up on Friday and they stayed the weekend. We did a walk around Laval and went to a nice art gallery that Jan and Dunk suggested, which was very good. And went for a nice walk on Sunday, ran the loop, didn't get lost.
Yeah, but if Callum hadn't been there, you'd have got lost, wouldn't you?
I think he was there just in case we got lost.
Right. Okay.
No, well, I mean I was taking him anyway, but
yeah.
But having the backup of him looking on his phone made me feel better.
It's such a simple loop, though, really.
Well,
the amount of times you've done it.
It isn't, because you get to a crossroads and I don't know whether to go straight on. See, once I was round and I recognised there's a little lake, isn't there? And I thought,
behind that house, you mean?
I know where I am now.
Yeah.
Because I recognise things when I get there.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to get there.
Yeah, I can't think of any other way other than just keep doing it. But you've been keep doing it. It's just not...
Doesn't register.
Yeah.
I did say maybe next time I would tie ribbons to various trees.
Is that Callum's first time of doing it though?
The loop?
Yeah.
Yes.
And yet he worked it out. Yeah.
Oh, and he will remember it forever now.
Was he a Boy Scout?
He was a scout.
Yeah.
No, he was a cub.
But then he's just got that sort of brain anyway, hasn't he?
His dad.
Yeah.
I mean, Mac would I went there in 1973. I can find my way back. Where I would never be able to do that. So that was good fun. We watched a couple of films. We chatted and ate and drank, and it was lovely.
So you caught up basically, even though you only saw him at Christmas.
Well,
briefly, didn't you? You didn't see him for long.
Yeah. So that was lovely. And you did a games night.
Yes, yeah. Well, it wasn't obviously planned, because I think I've said before that we tried to frequent. We want to frequent the bar, which in itself sounds terrible, but because we've got these new owners at the bar, haven't we? And we want it to be a success for them, because they're really trying hard to provide things and to bring the community together, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's really lovely to go in there. They've got so much. I mean, like we've gone in recently, and first of all, they wasn't selling a lot of food, but they've started selling dairy now, which is a real bonus. And they've got, obviously, it's like a little convenience store, isn't it? So they've got that, but then they've now started with second-hand clothes on a rail, which you saw the other day, and lots of books. I haven't looked that close, but I'm assuming they're mainly going to be French. But they've also got hundreds of games. So we didn't know it, but we'd gone in there just to have a coffee, because we thought we must do this. Dunk said it the other day, we must go in every Saturday and just have a coffee or something. We did that, and as we walked in, there was lots of people, and we were thinking what the hell's going on. And then Julian behind the bar said it's a jeu de société, which is French for board games, like it's a day for that. And it was just this one date. I mean, I thought they were just there, they were all the time, which I think they are, but I think they're doing this to try and encourage people and make them aware of what they've got available. So because we thought, we're here now, we've got to take part. So I went and searched and found Rummy Cub, which obviously we both know how to play. That's one thing, because not being French, usually it needs to be number games for us to be able to play with the French, which is how we've got into being able to find these games to play with Natalie and Leon, haven't we? Because we've done Tronimo's Rummy Cub and a few other and card games, because they're all
yeah.
numbers involved. So
Yeah.
it makes it easier to be able to do things together.
Yes.
So so we did Rummy Cub, and then Cedric, the partner of Julien, he looked round at one point and he said, "Do you want to join in with us?" Duncan was a bit cautious. He said, "I'm not sure it'll work because of the language." But they didn't seem to be put off. He said, "Well, you can do it on your own if you like." But I think they still had it in mind, because they was almost watching and waiting for us to finish our game of Rummy Cub. I think we'd had 2 or 3 actually before we actually then joined in with them, because then he said, like, two of them came over. Well, first of all, this man turned around because Cedric said, "Do you want to play this game?" He showed us the game and it was okay. And then all of a sudden his wife wanted to come and join in as well. And you could tell she was so keen to come and try and do another game. And whether she was keen because she wanted to join in with the English, as it were, or whether she just wanted this game, but you wouldn't have known anyway. She was just so relaxed. And so we had a couple of games. One was called, I think it was Trio. We'd played something similar with Natalie and Leon. And the other one was 5 Crowns. And it was, as I said to Sharon earlier, it's similar to a game that we play with you called Benny's, but you've got like almost like 2 or 3 packs. There's a lot of cards, and then and that's the other difference when they're dealt out. You have how many cards each? I can't remember.
7.
So you have 7 there.
Yeah.
But with this game, you start off with 3. And then each round you get another card. So your hand grows. So there's a lot more to think about. But it's done like Benny's is, like Rummy Cub or Rummy.
Yes.
It's done like that.
Sets of things.
It sets. So it was like that. And it throws you a bit because the pictures aren't the same as our cards. They're just slightly different. And so each round you've had 3 cards for the first one, and you start off, you can use the Joker. The Joker can be anything, and the King can be anything. So you've in effect you've got 2 choices. But I mean, if you end up, you're lucky enough to say have 3 Jokers and 2 Kings in your pack, you've practically won, because you can just lay them down as anything. And that's what happened one round. Frederique, she said, like, she did it as soon as she picked her cards up, split mat, done, because she had all these Jokers and everything. So it was good fun. So it's something you'll definitely have to come with us anyway. You can sit next time when it's on and join in. And I think they liked it because they were again practicing their English, and Cedric kept saying words and wanting us to, and because we had the whiteboard behind us where we were, and so him and Dunk were writing words on the board because he couldn't quite work out how it was spelt. So so it was a bit of a French lesson at the same time, French and English.
Good stuff.
So it was good, yeah. That was a good afternoon. So we went in for a coffee and ended up being there for about, 3 hours plus.
Yeah, good stuff.
And they bought us drinks and that. That was good. So you went to Laval with Callum and Daisy, didn't you? To that?
Yes, on Saturday.
To the gallery that we've had on video before.
Yes, in the chateau. Yeah,
and we found it really difficult to find because it calls it a chateau, but it's not actually a chateau anymore, is it?
And it's a tiny little entrance on the, because I've been past that
little
entrance before
gateway
and not realised.
Yeah,
and because when we went in, and then I said for 3 people, and I've got my purse out ready, and she's like, "Oh, c'est gratuit."
So it was free again.
It was free.
It is every time we've been. So it's great because it's such a lovely gallery.
It was so lovely and warm in there as well because it was blowing a gale.
Because it got a really beautiful high wooden ceiling when you go in as well. It looks like more like a boat.
Yes.
Thought the ceiling's great.
Yeah.
You remember because we had a bit of a conversation about that when we went.
Yeah. So that was good fun.
Yeah.
But we did end up in a sports bar.
Yeah. An English sports bar at that.
English sports bar.
But I told Dunk, he went, "What, they're doing go to an English bar?" Well, it's warm apparently.
It was warm and it did chips.
Yeah.
It wasn't run by English people. It was English themed.
Ah, that's why we've not seen it. Because we said we don't remember seeing one other. That's why I said to you, was it an Irish bar? Because they're the only one we've seen.
No, it was called Au Bureau.
Oh, that's where we went.
It's at the office.
That's where we was going to go for the meal when we went to Christmas lights.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, it's like a Weatherspoons
Exactly, that's what
inside.
we said. It was like a
Yeah.
posh Weatherspoons. Yeah.
Yeah, and it said in the thing, oh, this was inspired by English pubs, and I thought, not all English pubs.
I can't
You've just
remember
been to a
seeing that, but
Weatherspoons.
yeah, but no, that's where we went. We was going to go then.
Right. Oh, cross purposes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then it was on the bar on the opposite. There was the church, and next to the church was the other little bar. That's where we went in before we went to the Christmas Carol concert thing.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
that explains it. But it's got lots of it had Bournemouth FC thing on the
I
wall.
can't remember noticing it. Yeah.
And Man City and things like that. So and it had big screens. They were showing handball on the big screen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it
What
was,
funny enough, talk about games. When we went in, the table we sat, there was a high. Get the high tables, don't you, with stalls. There was a group of women playing cards, so
right,
they encouraged that
okay.
sort of thing there.
Yeah.
And the real lovely chandeliers they had up and
Yes,
everything.
lovely chandeliers.
Yeah, it's quite a big
you know,
place, and like you say, so much like a Weatherspoons.
Yes.
I don't know if they've got Weatherspoons in America and that, but I think it's definitely a UK thing, isn't it?
Yes, and it's one of those similar buildings as well, because Weatherspoons kind of grew out of taking over old banks and things like
yeah.
that, wasn't it? So
Yeah.
it's a bit like that. Yeah. No, but it was really, really nice. But I'm having vegans with me, so we couldn't go in a lot of French premises because there would have been not even a veggie option. So
No,
Yeah.
as we keep saying, they're getting better, but
yeah,
sometimes their options aren't that great, are they?
no, but I had cheesy chips, which was very nice, thank you. And the
Yeah.
other two had a portion of chips and a salad, and they kind of mixed and matched between them.
Yeah.
So it was good.
Yeah, we had a nice meal when we was in there. So let's say that's where we had the dessert, and we thought, oh, this is going to be, because it looked like those sort of desserts that they sit in the fridge all the time, rather than a specially made one.
Why didn't I remember any of this conversation?
It was on Instagram and everything, Sharon. But anyway, so because we expected this dessert to come up, so it's going to be really small, but it was huge and it was lovely.
I remember the huge dessert. I
Yeah.
just don't remember the name of the place
Yeah,
or that it
Bureau,
looked like
yeah.
looked like
Because
a
it says
Weatherspoons.
outside, doesn't it? Pub and restaurant or something, or pub restaurant. That's what it says outside. Yeah.
Well,
Well, see, now you've been there.
and so have you apparently.
Yeah. Oh, so I can't think of anything else that's happened this week. Again, because the weather's rubbish. We haven't really. I think we managed to walk once, didn't we? We did the loop, I think, one day.
We did.
So you've done the loop twice in a week. Whoa. Today we've just been in for a short walk. Only did 3,000 steps, didn't we, in Lassay?
Ran Lassay.
I've had a doctor's appointment.
You know how to live, don't you?
I do know how to live. Doctor's appointment. She's sending me for blood test or regular, like well, I suppose they're 6 monthly, but apparently I went last January. I could have sworn I've been since, but just to test the usual cholesterol and all that stuff.
Yes.
And she wants me to have my back x-ray because I've been getting some pain there, so I'll update you all later. Yeah.
Perhaps we should do a special
Jan's Ailments. At Jan's Ailments podcast. Oh, that's all part of getting old, though, isn't it? That's the trouble.
And you never
I hate it.
quite know. Well, you never quite know if it's age, menopause, combination of the two.
No, and that's one thing about living with someone that's younger than you as well, because Duncan always thinks, but it's just normal getting old now. I said, but they also tell you not to ignore these things, because you could ignore it and it could be something that you'd rather not have. And why put up with pain when you could possibly get rid of it? So that's my opinion. So that's what. So thankfully, I got an appointment quite quick, so I'll go for that X-ray on Monday. Blood test tomorrow morning at 8:10.
Lovely.
So
Well, it's always a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because one, I don't like morning appointments,
no,
but otherwise, if it's a fasting one, then you're fasting to the afternoon.
yeah, and they always seem to give them to me really early anyway. Whether they realise that that's what?
Yeah, it's because it's a fasting one. 'cause-
Well, I didn't say that to them though. They just automatically gave it to me at 8:10 because I was waiting to say to them "Ajun," which is obviously fasting in French.
Right.
So, but it's obviously not a problem for me anyway because I don't have breakfast, So it's Anyway, I'd be glad to get sorted again and know where I am at least for the next 6 months on that side of things. So
Yes.
So have you had any weird dreams or anything this week?
Well, I had one last night, which was Sometimes my dreams take people from different areas of my life and shove them together. So I was in Bexley Heath, which is our local shopping area where we both lived in.
Yep.
South East London, Kent borders. But I was going to a wedding in the shopping centre.
Right.
Between someone I worked with probably about 25 years ago.
It is bizarre, and we said this before, didn't we? Why do they suddenly come up in you?
Yeah, and the current husband of the kennels I send my cats to when I go on holiday. So it was Sue I used to work with and Tanya's husband were getting married.
Oh, sorry.
See, you're distracted, aren't you? Right,
yeah.
So they were getting married. But I was also supposedly working in a betting shop that Saturday.
You worked in a betting shop, didn't you? Yeah.
I haven't worked in a betting shop since the early 80s.
Oh, right.
But I still regularly do it in my dreams. So I had to pop out. There was a previous dream where I'd come to work on a moped. And then I parked my moped and went into work and I said, has anybody got a chain and a padlock? Because I've forgotten the thing to lock my bike up with. And they went, yeah, here's one. So I took that back out. But then I got in someone's car.
Right.
It was raining and I was having difficulty seeing where I was going, to drop off some things to the wedding party who were up the road. So I dropped things off to the wedding party. Oh, there was also some Christmas carols.
Right, okay.
Because I remember dropping
Was it
off...
Christmas?
I don't think so. But I dropped off some things there and then I had to leg it back to the betting shop. Because people started walking down the hill. The wedding party started walking down the hill with these brollies. And I was like, I can't walk down with you. I've got to drop this. I've got somebody's dress they're wearing to the wedding with me. So I have to go back to the betting shop to drop the dress off so she can get changed and come with me down to the shopping centre.
Yeah.
But we still beat the wedding party down there. They were still walking down the road. But because they were a bit late, someone went in front of us, but that was all right. And then there was a very tall man at the back and he looked like Fee's ex-boyfriend, Fred. And I thought, oh, Fred's getting married today. But yes, and then we went into the wedding and then I woke up, so I've got no idea.
So you don't know what happened at the wedding or anything?
No.
Oh, right, okay. So that's the only one you remember this week. But at least you remember them, I don't.
Well, the others were fairly standard. No, there was another, I think this was earlier on in the same night, so it was last night as well.
Yeah.
Where I was quite young, like my 20s, and all my kids were little.
Right.
I mean, maybe that's because Callum was over at the weekend.
Yeah, it could have been, yeah.
But I appeared to be very poor. And I was like, oh, can I get away with putting Callum in these shorts again? Because I think they're very short shorts. They're too small for him because he's grown, but I don't have any other shorts. But all these clothes for the kids were all in the kitchen drawers. I was in the kitchen and opening these drawers thinking, oh, those shorts are too small. I don't know what that was about.
I'm just having a quick look at some comments from the last podcast where we was talking about whether we were green enough.
Yes.
There's just a couple of them. Tina said that she was talking about the charity shops in the UK. She finds that they're just as expensive as buying new sometimes, which is what we were saying before. And I said it's got to be difficult for them because they need to price it in at a price that they can raise a good money for the charity, but they've also got to keep it at a good price for those that can't afford. If, depending on what they're aiming at.
Yeah,
it's
they've almost got conflicting purposes, haven't they?
Yeah, this is what she was saying. She said it's so it's a no-win in our charity shops. People aren't spending as much in there because they have raised it up so much. Also, she's obviously, thank you very much. She says another great podcast. She says she does her bit for recycling and it just drives her mad sometimes, the things you can and can't put in, which is what, I mean, I'm the same. The other day I went to put something in the bin and Duncan said, but that doesn't go in that bin. And I thought, I knew now, but you just forget. And she said she remembers going into McDonald's in France last year and was a bit confused with the recycling bit. So it obviously is different then, if she's confused with it here. was we'd been long enough that we've forgotten. Oh, and she said about I need to get or make one of the oversized fleece tops like you got for Christmas.
Yes.
Which I said, didn't I? I said I was hoping to make one. I'm just waiting to find the right fleece. So, yeah. And Betsy said, excellent podcast. Thank you, Betsy. She said they got the same issues with recycling in the States. And she said recycling rules vary from town to town and it gets confusing.
Yes.
And I think it's overall the same everywhere here, isn't it? I don't think the rules change.
I think rubbish collection varies, but yeah. I mean, obviously the state system in America means, so many laws are different, criminal laws and all sorts of things, aren't they? But
yeah, I mean, like she's saying, overall we need to do more. But
we do.
one thing like we were saying last week, isn't it? It was last week, and is that the rules are different in the country to in the town. I mean, even Leon said this the other day, didn't? I don't know if you were there, but we were saying about the rules of certain things. Like this week, we eaten some chicken. And we had the chicken bones, and we both, Duncan said, well, where do we put this? Because apparently the new rules are that you can't put bones in your normal rubbish anymore.
See, I didn't know that.
But I don't know where Dunk read it, so it's obviously not been made, but this is what Macron is part of what they're saying now, that we can't do that. So where the hell do you put them? I said to Dunk, do we burn them on our fire? But then in the summer you wouldn't necessarily have a fire, so you wouldn't be able to get rid of it then. If you can't put it in the rubbish, I don't know what the answer is. And in town, it's a similar thing with a lot of things, isn't it? Because they haven't got the same, not recycling as accessible as we have, I don't think, either. So I don't know. It's a no-win. It's a no-win.
No, there has to be somewhere to put your food waste. I have very little food waste because it either goes to the chickens or it goes on my compost. I don't eat a lot of meat. But then my cats do. Yeah. So,
I mean,
it's very difficult.
when I think about it now, I should really have used those bones and cooked them up to make some stock or something. But I wasn't thinking of that at the time. But I'd still have the bones at the end. What you do with the bones, because they don't tend to rot away, even if you put them in compost or anything, do they? And is that a good thing to put in compost?
No.
We need to find that out. I wouldn't have thought you could.
We need some clarity.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're going to have to make jewellery.
Bone jewellery, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they do in Africa or somewhere like that, isn't it? Perhaps we need to start piercing our nose and having a bone through our nose or something. Anyway.
You go first, Jan.
So exactly. It's a difficult one because, I mean, if you think about it as well, if we just had a bin just for waste of cooked food, which obviously a lot of restaurants now do, surely during the summer weathers it's going to stink and just be horrible. And again, where do we put it? Unless we can get it all together and then feed it to the pigs and that, which is generally who would end up with it.
I haven't got any pigs.
They don't see it. We haven't got any pigs, no, exactly. So where would you put it? And can you imagine if they did have a collection point at the déchetterie or the tip just for food that's left over? Just try not to waste, people. Just
try to use things.
Just eat your food. Don't waste any. Yeah.
Oh, I did read something, or saw it on YouTube, of the skin.
I don't know what you're trying to say, so I can't
neither
argue
do
it.
The outside of your garlic, is it a skin?
Yeah, it must be. Yeah.
Apparently, you can gather all that together and
yes, I know what you're going to say now.
Mix it down and make a kind of garlic.
Well, a garlic powder.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that. You could just grind it all down, and there's something to bear in mind, actually.
I mean, it usually goes in my compost. It doesn't go.
Well,
to the
it's not the
chickens,
same here. Yeah.
So
thank you for those that commented on last week's, and this week we have decided we're going to do a bit of a time for you to all be nosy, really, again. Bit of a fly on the wall almost, because Sharon and I did this. It's a set of cards with it's called Best Ever Dinner Party Icebreakers, but they're just basically little questions for you to try and find out people's thoughts and all that sort of thing. I mean, we found it very funny. We'd filmed it for a good hour plus, and then the lighting wasn't very good, and I couldn't. Well, I did put it up, but then in the end decided no, that's just rubbish.
I will
So
say
we're going to do it now.
We were drunk last time we did it.
And we did have a few glasses. Was it glasses of wine or something? We did it while we were doing it, but
Stone cold soap.
You might get more sensible answers, but unlikely.
Not necessarily. Yeah.
And we've got another pile of cards which
I
are
haven't
called
seen before.
Fact or Fib. Now, I don't know what's in these, so this could be funny, but I think what we'll do, we'll take alternate. We'll take one each of one and one each of the other one, and we'll just keep swapping about, yeah?
Does everybody know what a fib is? Is that a British word?
Oh, that's a good point.
Telling fibs.
I think it might be, but I don't know.
It's like little white lies, isn't it?
Yeah, fibs are little white lies, and I wonder where that came from.
Yes, we're addicted to Rob words now. Thank you. Who told us about that?
That was Renee.
That was Renee. We keep watching Rob words.
I'm quickly looking up to see what a fib is. What's that?
Rob Werbs. That's it.
What is a fib? Okay, well that's... Yes, it doesn't even come up. I'm wondering if it's just a... Oh, there it is. Hang on, what is a fib? Oh, it's apparently to do with a common type of treatment and heart arrhythmia. Of course, I should have realised that.
Fibula.
AFib, they say, don't they?
Ah, right.
What have you found?
I found mid-16th century, perhaps a shortening of the obsolete fibble fabble, meaning nonsense.
Isn't it funny? We've been saying, how old are we? We've been saying that all our life and never even thought,
No.
Where did it come from?
And of course, we still use the word fable, don't we?
Yes.
But that's like a moral story.
But still made up. Yeah. Usually.
Yeah, it comes from fibble fabble.
Yeah. Just a heads up, our next podcast, we're going to be talking about French and English idioms. And I think that's going to be quite good fun because, some of them are daft and the literal translation is hilarious sometimes. So watch out for that one. Right, shall I start to ask you?
I was just going to say for our non-English or French listeners, they've got American idioms that we don't
use.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same with these ones. I was reading them thinking that basically the French and the English ones, someone found to be the closest that were similar, if you see what I mean. But yeah, I mean, there's probably ones from other countries that are different. Yes, send them if you're in a different country. Let us know what you idioms you've got that we haven't told you next week. We're going to start with one. I'm going to ask Sharon first. Have you ever wished you were the opposite sex?
Yes.
For what reasons?
I suppose I'd quite like to know what it was like to have a willy. Especially when I'm dying to go to a loo.
Yeah.
A loo? No, dying to go to the loo.
Yeah, to the toilet, yeah.
Dying for a number one. And then it's
that's another thing. We say loo. Americans say the John or the restroom, don't they? Yeah.
Yes. So if I want a pee, it would be nice to have some kind of external spout arrangement.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, they're doing these funny things now that you can, like a funnel thing, aren't they, for women? She-wees, yeah.
They are quite good. I've used a she-wee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even just saying that's just making me think all the different words for a wee.
Yes.
You've got wee, you've got pee, you've got, I hate saying it, piss, and you've got pee-pee.
Pee-pee in France. Pee-pee and caca.
I've heard people say, Duncan used to say when we first met, I'm going for a whiz.
A whiz, yes.
I don't know where that one comes from.
No.
But yeah. So it's funny, isn't it? How you just suddenly think...
Number ones and number twos.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just a British thing.
Yeah. It's only through doing these videos and that I think actually the Americans or the Australians or whatever probably wouldn't say that. So I'd keep having to make things clear that they know what we're talking about. Right, so you would like to be the opposite sex.
Well, I'd like an external spout arrangement sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
But I wouldn't have liked to have been a traditional boy in that I was very shy when I was younger, so I would never have had the courage to approach a girl if that was my inclination.
No.
And ask him out and wait for the laugh and the rejection and all that. I'd have hated that. I mean, in modern times, you would have hoped that it's not so gender specific these days, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't have liked that at all. Oh, what's the longest you've ever waited in a line? Like a queue, rather than just you made one yourself. Presumably there was something at the end of the line.
In a queue. Oh, it's got to be a theme park or something, I reckon.
Oh, right.
I reckon
yes.
we've queued maybe about an hour. Because because sometimes they say how long the queue's going to be, don't they?
Mm.
And if it's sometimes if I saw it was an hour, especially these days, I'd probably think I'm not going to bother. Which is a shame because you can miss out. But I'd rather go away and come back and hope it's shorter the next time. But it's usually come back and it's even longer. But yeah, no, I'd say about an hour.
That's not very, very long at all, is it?
Well, that just shows you my patience.
Yeah, you haven't
queuing.
got any.
And if Duncan was with me, it wouldn't be even that long because he can't queue more than 10 minutes. It's just not. If you saw a queue, he'd say, he'll give me the bank card or his wallet and he'll say, I'll wait in the car because he can't.
Or I'll go and get something to eat.
Yeah, I'll wait in there for you. Yeah. Right, let's go on to the other ones. Fact or fib? This is interesting because we've never done this one before. Right, okay. So we're going to forget the fib bit.
We're just going to do the
We're
facts.
going to do the fact bit.
So we've just got two sets.
There's two sets of similar questions in a way.
Yes.
So really this fact or fib, obviously we know each other pretty well, and I think that's what it's all about, but it involves too much thinking, so we're not going to do that. We're just going to go with the fact bit. Right. Okay, so
you're asking me a question.
I'm asking you then. Tell a story about your earliest memory.
Oh, okay. I've got an early memory and an early dream.
Of course there's a dream. We'll go with the memory.
I've got a couple actually. Oh, the one I really like is, is that a dream?
See, you've got so many dreams you don't know now. This is getting worrying. You can't determine between a dream and a fact.
It's like
real life.
What's that where they go under layers and layers of dreams? The film.
Oh, Inception.
Yes, that's what my life is.
Oh
I'm
dear.
permanently in Inception. I don't know fact from fiction anymore. I used to have, I think it was a memory of sitting surrounded by yellow glass.
Right.
In fact, it was plastic, and I couldn't work it out. And I said to my mum about it. And when I was quite young, so I think I'm maybe about 5, my dad had a motorbike and sidecar, and the sidecar, sitting in the sidecar, had yellow plexiglass around it.
Yes.
So she thinks that's what I remember seeing. Was
It
sitting
is
in my
funny,
dad's sidecar.
when you're a child, you can't quite,
The other dream one was I used to dream about going to a shop on Plumstead High Street, which is where I grew up.
We're not asking about dreams.
But it turned out to be an early memory.
Ah.
So I said to my mum again, I dreamt about going to this shop on Plumstead High Street and buying purple chalk. And she said that actually happened, but you were very, very young. Tell a story about a memorable birthday.
And this can be any time, obviously, can't it? A memorable birthday. See, my birthday, as we know, is a January birthday.
Well, I was going to say both of us have. I blame our parents.
Yeah, winter birthdays aren't fun really. Not
I'm in
unless
the
we
end
have
of
to really
December.
almost seem to have to make more effort to make it fun.
Yes.
But the earliest one I can remember.
Doesn't have to be earliest, it's just memorable.
No, sorry, just memorable.
So it could be your 60th. I know you really enjoyed that.
Yeah, well that actually is no, I think my 30th.
Your 30th.
Yes, because
You remember that far back?
and when I think about it now, I can't believe it was that long ago. I think it was my 30th. No, it was my 40th. My 40th. That's why it didn't seem that long ago, because it wasn't.
Still 25 years, Joan.
Well, anyway, so it's because it was my 40th and we arranged, similar to my 60th or 50th, we had a room above the pub in Bexley Heath. In the what was one that was on the corner in Bexley Heath?
Jolly Drayman.
That's it, a Jolly Drayman, which is now I think it was a
Became a
house.
nightclub, didn't it?
It was a nightclub, but now I think it's flats.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah, so I had my 40th birthday in that room above the pub, and it was a great night because obviously with friends there that I hadn't seen for a while. My best friend from school came,
Oh, cool.
and when I look at the pictures now, even Duncan's mum and dad came, and obviously my mum and dad were both there. So yeah, so it was a nice memory that there's a lot of people there that I don't see anymore, or just aren't around anymore. Yeah. Yeah, so that's that with me.
Oh, that's cool. Oh.
Right, okay. Which modern convenience should never have been invented? I think we might have to do these in part 1 and part 2, depending on how long we take. So be warned, there might be a part 2.
Oh, it's so difficult, isn't it? Because a lot of them, again, using the idiom double-edged sword, second time. Because things like Instagram, I like it because it's a way of keeping in touch with my kids. And I look at lots of cats and dogs on it and funny things, but the kind of body images it gives people can be quite destructive. I couldn't do without the internet now. And people say, oh, I wish the internet never... Oh, God, can you imagine the amount of times we forget things? What would we do? Go to the library and get an encyclopedia?
We now know the benefits of it, don't we?
Yes, yeah. Flying, that's another one, isn't it?
What you wish you'd never been invented?
Yeah, because
Really?
the amount of pollution it causes.
Oh,
and
that
things
side of
like
it,
that.
yeah.
But especially for less than wealthy people, because wealthy people were always able to travel somewhere or another, weren't they? But the rest of us wouldn't have been able to. So there would have been places I've been to that I would never have been able to afford to go. You know, I couldn't have got on, well, not Titanic, but that kind of ship, and spend a fortnight getting to the America or something. That wouldn't have been available.
No.
Yeah,
No,
it's
right.
difficult. I mean, I'm an embrace of the modern times.
Yeah.
I don't look at modern life and think, oh, wish that wasn't here. Or
Yeah.
it's always a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Right, okay.
That wasn't very exciting at all. Was
No,
it,
but
really?
it was still something you...
Sorry.
It was still... You answered the question.
Have you ever been in a food fight?
Oh, yes. When I was with my ex-husband, he was a rugby player and I did the catering at the rugby club. And invariably, the longer the night went on, food got thrown. And us girls were the waitresses for the night. And, so we had to duck quite a lot of food. Yeah. And occasionally we would join in. By the way, listeners, I've been bought microphones for my birthday. And we are now recording on those microphones. So let us know in the comments if it's any better. Right. Tell a story about the silliest thing you've ever cried over.
Cried over? I can just think of films now. I'm thinking of films. I remember going to see Finding Dory with Fee, my middle child. I mean, they weren't a child; they were already in their mid-20s, I think. And I think it wasn't about Dory. You know, that's always the thing, isn't it? It wasn't about Dory, but having a good old sob to that. But films want to do that to you, don't they?
Of course they do. That's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything silly.
No.
I'm being really boring here,
No,
Jan.
you're not being boring. You're just answering the questions.
This is a good one, Jan.
Oh,
Bear in
I'm
mind,
dreading this now.
it's me, and I know quite a few of you.
Okay, go on.
Tell a story about a hidden talent you have.
Oh my God. Are my talents hidden?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Most of your talents, I think I already know about. Are there some I
hidden
don't?
talent? Or it could be... Oh. Hidden talent. I can't even think. I don't know if I've got... Oh, actually, one that people haven't seen, which everybody else around me seems to be impressed by, that I can shuffle cards.
Yes, unlike Duncan and I.
Even that card game in the bar the other day, Cedric was putting them out and just shuffling them around like Leon does, just shuffling them around the table. It was really weird because Duncan's going, Janet can shuffle. That's what was going on the board behind us, the word shuffle, because they didn't know what it was. They're just saying melange, like melange's mix. Yeah, so yeah, I'd say that because it's not something other people have seen me do. But I'm quite good at shuffling because you don't shuffle cards, do you? Duncan doesn't shuffle cards.
I do it half-heartedly. Duncan doesn't do it at all.
No.
Yeah. So it's a good thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ever need a job as a croupier.
As a croupier it is a croupier, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know, it didn't sound right then. Yeah, so
Shuffling.
I'm a card shuffler. If you won $1 million, what would you spend it on?
I'd almost say $1 million's not enough these days. Not with, because I'm
Yeah,
thinking
how old is this game?
I'm thinking London house prices.
But $1 million's $1 million. It doesn't mean it's a lot as such, does it? It's just a figure. What would you
Yes.
spend it on?
I mean, if it was enough to buy the kids all somewhere to a little house each, that would be fabulous.
All right, but in this day and age, if you don't think it is, what would you spend it on?
Yeah, I suppose I'd just give them a lump sum and let them choose what they want to spend it on.
Yeah,
I'd like to buy the house next door to me.
yeah. I don't think that's going to be $1 million somehow.
No, it's not going to be $1 million.
You could probably still buy that and give the kids a lump sum.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
it'd probably be about 20,000 or something next door, wouldn't it? So yeah.
The house next door to me has been empty, we think, for about 30 years, if not more.
Easily, yeah.
And it's going to ruin.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to have it.
Well, if I win the lotto, I'll give you the money to buy that one.
Oh,
then,
thank
okay?
you.
Yeah,
It's very kind
Yeah.
of you.
yeah.
I'm still going because I'm spreading this money out.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah, I'd have a posh electric car.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So not one that only does 6 kilometres and needs recharging, but
Yeah.
a half decent one, that'd be good. Yeah. And a big long distance holiday. I've probably spent it now, haven't I?
Possibly, because of the day and age. Yeah.
Which is your favourite deadly sin? Does it mean, I suppose it's down to our interpretation, does it mean the one you most enjoy doing?
It's hard, isn't it, to interpret that, really? But I'm going to
Interpret as you
say,
will.
right this minute, I'm going to say greed, because I do occasionally like to just be greedy, whether it be food, drink, chocolate, whatever. But then
Oh, you're
that's
so
because I don't do it very often, I suppose.
Yes.
That's why. If everything was available to me and I never put on weight and I never got ill and all this sort of stuff, there's probably what I would like to do. Just be able to have as much as I want of anything. Tell a story about the most pointless lie you've ever told.
Most pointless lie. I told a pointless lie. Lies are quite pointful.
Pointful.
They're quite pointy. Lying to your children's always great fun, isn't it?
Great fun.
Well, I did go through a phase of telling my children that some sweets I used to eat was medicine.
That's a bit like my dad saying the drinks cabinet was a medicinal cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it's pretty pointless, isn't
Yeah.
it? If the kids' dad and I wanted some alone time,
Right, yeah.
we used to say we couldn't be disturbed because we were wrapping presents.
But that's not pointless, is it, really? There is a point to that. You want to be left alone.
Yes.
It's hard to pinpoint a pointless.
I don't think I would tell a point. I think I only tell pointy lies.
Pointy.
What is the word? What's the opposite of pointless then? Pointful. I said pointful.
Pointful, yeah. I know, would it be useful? Pointless.
Yes, but why isn't there just a point? Point lies and pointless lies.
Or you're making. No, I don't understand. No. Someone will probably put in the comments. Look, Jan and Sharon,
Stupid.
the opposite of pointless is.
Tell a story about the least favourite job you've ever had.
I can't even think of a least favourite. I suppose one of the nurseries I worked for. Yeah, the only story I can think of is not a particularly cheerful one, but I had to go into a meeting with the owner of the nursery, and he basically was telling me off because I wasn't telling my staff off, or I wasn't making them do things that I didn't want them to do, because I felt for them, basically. So yeah, that's one that sticks in my mind, because most other jobs have been okay. Oh, this is so appropriate for you, this one. Who's your favourite X-Man?
You always say this, but yes, I'm not going to criticise you for your lack of comic book knowledge.
Okay. Why? X-Man's what you like, isn't it?
No,
Oh.
it's Marvel I like.
I thought they were part. That was part
No,
of.
it's a different
see,
universe,
I
Jan.
don't know me comics.
Sake, it's a different universe.
I must brush up on my Marvels.
Because often you say things about Star Trek and Star Wars. I don't know much about them either.
Oh yeah, well I do know the difference for them. Yeah,
But
I just assume you liked them all, so that's.
No, it's just Marvel, really.
Oh, okay. Have you
Marvel.
so you not got a favourite X-Man
I
then?
can probably think of one. Oh, Wolverine.
That's right. He's an X-Man, yes.
Because he's just nice, isn't he? He's quite hairy and that.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Bit lethal. Those
Stabby things.
stabby fingers. Yeah.
What's his name? The actor.
Hugh Jackman. Yeah.
Jack Human.
Yeah.
Yes, Wolverine's quite nice. Do you believe money can buy happiness?
I think it depends on the amount of money. I think it's a danger. I've heard about it quite recently, actually. Someone saying that someone won a lot of money and it ruined them, and it can do.
Yeah.
I think it depends on how it's managed, and that's why they say if you've got money to have a advisor, because I think I suppose it depends on your circle of family and friends as well, doesn't it? If they find you're going to have money and they're all just after you just to get some money out of you, that's going to cause a lot of friction and not be happiness. But if you had a nice amount that you could just buy enough stuff that you've always wanted, I think that could make you happy. But no, I don't think it makes you happy.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the amount of rich people and superstars and all that. They've got all this money and they end up killing themselves from depression. So it doesn't, does it?
Doesn't solve everything.
No.
Can solve a lot of things.
Well, it can. I mean, there's a level where obviously you've got the poor who could do with just a bit more money. Then it's making happiness. And then it's just depend on what your level of life you want, isn't it? And yeah, so not generally, I'd say.
I'd still like. Sorry.
Go on, I'll let you. I'll let you chip in on my question.
I can't stop chipping in. I think we should start again and chip in all the way through.
No, go on.
I like the idea of like winning 43 million or something outrageous just to see what I'd do with it.
Was it 17 million last week, wasn't it?
Was
Still
it?
didn't win it. Yeah,
No.
yeah. Oh God, I'm sure you've told me something like this. Tell a story about a time you got into trouble when you were younger.
Trouble. I was fairly risk averse, really. I didn't do a lot where I would have got. I did get arrested.
Right, okay. For what?
That was Denise. Denise, if you listen to my podcast,
Yeah.
Denise Howard, we were shopping in, I want to say Etam or Tammy Girl or one of those sort of teenage clothes shops. We went into the changing rooms and Denise stole a belt off of something we tried.
Denise!
On. I know.
So you didn't actually pick anything up?
I didn't. But because I refused to rat out Denise.
Oh, that was very loyal of you.
Yes, we both got arrested. Denise was obviously a rubbish thief.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think there was an extra element in that we'd spoken to a well-known felon.
Oh, really?
It's like some boy we fancied or something. And he was known to the police, so I think that's what probably alerted them, first of all.
She wasn't doing it to try and impress him, was she?
I don't know. But anyway, we got arrested. We spent a good couple of hours in a police station. It was awful, really awful. And then at the end of it, we got cautioned and we had to go back to be officially cautioned, which is basically a police officer shouting at you to
scare you,
not
yeah.
to do it again.
Yeah.
I really cried.
See, but that back then, the days when kids used to listen to the police, that's the scary
Oh,
thing,
it was a
isn't
really frightening experience. I wouldn't like to do it again. It didn't stay on my permanent record.
Oh, that's good.
Because I was only 15.
Oh, right.
And I think anything under a certain age got expunged when you were an adult.
Oh, right.
Tell a story about a fancy dress experience.
Okay.
You like a bit of fancy dress, don't you?
Well,
'Cause-
well,
'cause you've
used
made your
to.
own.
It's one of those things that I've sort of grown out of, and I'm having to motivate myself to do again, like the recent
I was gonna
Halloween
say,
and
you
that.
made one recently.
I know, but it
so-
really took a lot of pushing to do that, because a lot of that was because we really wanted to go to this party at the chateau, and we've been invited each year. But yeah, I mean, I suppose overall, they're all. My most memorable is the first one I think I went to when I was probably about 17, 18, and I was Red Riding Hood.
Oh.
And my ex Roger was, I think he was the wolf. And we went
Okay.
and we've got photos of us outside my mum's house with me in my little red cape. Yeah. So
Did you make it yourself, or was it hired?
No, actually we hired. I don't know if you remember, there was
Yeah.
a hire place in Welling, and we used to.
Yes.
Yeah, we got our costumes from there. If you could have a servant come to your house every day for an hour, what would you have them do?
Oh, that's obvious. I'd get them to cook for me, wouldn't I?
Only cooking. That's it.
I've only got an hour.
It does. It is an hour. Good point.
Every day for an hour.
Yeah.
Cook.
And in that hour, they'd have to cook a week's food for you.
Well, they're coming every day, aren't they?
Oh, you're right. It is every
Yeah.
day, so that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's that done then. Yeah.
That's easy for me.
Yeah.
Be lovely. I've enjoyed it this weekend, and I did.
Oh, they did the cooking again.
I did proper cooking on Friday night.
Get out.
I did. I cooked a proper meal and everything, all on my own.
What was it?
I did the jackfruit
Oh yes, you bought
that
that.
I bought in Nos. Yeah, jackfruit puttanesca I made.
Pardon?
Yes.
Where'd you get that recipe?
Fee.
Jackfruit puttanesca.
Puttanesca is just like a tomatoey pasta thing.
But isn't jackfruit a fruit?
Well, it is a fruit, but in lots of veggie and vegan recipes, it's used instead of meat, so you can get jackfruit burgers and things like that. It's
And what's
quite
it like then?
chunky. When I saw it in the tin, it looked like pineapple,
Mm.
and then I cut it all down. I'm doing a cutting
Yeah, cutting motion.
motion,
Yeah.
and then it looked a bit tunery.
I've got to see this. I've never heard
Well,
of
I
it,
can
never
show you
seen
the
it.
picture of the thing, but I mean, it just looks like a pasta dish. But yeah, it was good. It was nice.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So
But
fit
then,
in with the vegans then.
Yes, Callum made a lovely risotto with far too many vegetables in it. It had squash, mushrooms, tomatoes, onions, spinach.
Oh, nice.
It was lovely. Yeah.
Anyway, as usual, we've gone off on a tangent,
yes,
but that sounds lovely.
definitely.
You
an
definitely
hour
have
a
someone
day.
come and cook.
Yep. Tell a story about your ultimate guilty pleasure.
Well, obviously one of my ultimate these days, I think it's because it really happens, that is that wanting to just sit
Yes.
in front of the TV, probably for a whole day, eat what I want to eat, watch what I want to watch, in front of the fire, and it'd be just lovely. If you could have a secret camera in any room in the world, what room would you choose?
Ooh. I think it'd have to be, I'm saying politicians, but I'm really not interested. Maybe in Buckingham Palace.
Mm.
It's about knowing
Who would you
that-
want to spy on?
I suppose before she died, it would have been the Queen.
Mm.
Obviously, since she's died, that
There's not a lot of good, no.
no. It's that kind of that public persona and what goes on behind closed doors, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the fly on the wall almost, isn't
Yeah,
it? Because it's the same
yeah,
sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe on the King now. Yeah, maybe just see, or William and Harry together. See if that tension's real or worse
he
than we
back
think
in the
it is.
country?
No, he lives
Oh,
in
he is still
America
away.
now. But, so
Right.
yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they are like we think they are,
Yeah.
or if they're very different in
Yeah.
private. Yeah. What's your all-time favourite movie?
Well, see, there's too many of those.
Probably be different every time we ask it as well.
Oh, well, I've got two, but initially, as soon as you said that, I was thinking Ghost.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because it's just made, obviously imprinted on my brain. I've got a second one, which would be The Notebook, and they're both very sad, very romantic type movies. That's what I like.
I haven't seen The Notebook.
Tell a story about a weird obsession you had when you were younger. Obviously, it'd have to be a story, but you can anything you remember.
Weird obsessions, rather than my current weird obsessions.
Yeah.
I think I've discovered recently I've got quite an obsessive nature. I didn't think I had.
No, I wouldn't have said you do, actually, other than
the lists.
Chocolate and the lists.
Yeah, and the spots and all the other things.
Yeah. See, it's all coming out now.
Oh,
Anyways, when you were younger.
When I was younger, when I was in my 20s, my kids still remember this as well, I used to have an encyclopedia of health, like a medical encyclopedia.
Yeah.
It actually fell apart in the end because I'd been through it so many times. That's pre-internet, so I was always looking up strange medical things.
It's as bad as Google, really, isn't it?
Yes,
If you've got
it
one of
was
them in
my
the house.
Google.
Yeah.
It was my Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did like that medical encyclopedia. Oh, tell a story about something that happened on your last holiday. That's very recent.
The last holiday was Vendée, wasn't it?
No, just before Christmas.
Oh, the Dinon, yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to be.
It's not really a holiday. Well, I suppose it is a holiday. It's just
It's not
a little
holiday. It wasn't long enough.
one. No, exactly. Okay, Dinon, what happened on the recent one? Dinon was the most recent one, and we basically sticks in my mind the walking up the hills because of the cobbled streets and the hills, and I'd wished there was sometimes on these sort of hills you can get like a fence with a rope on it up the middle. I wish they'd had one of those on there to help us get up the hill. Yeah, that's what sticks in my mind the most about that trip.
Where did we go in Italy where there was an escalator up and down the hill?
Oh yes, that was. Yeah, and we didn't know it until we were going home, really, did we? Discovered it then. That was excellent. Yeah,
you did.
That's the difference, isn't it? Yeah.
You did text me and say, I'm walking up the mountain again today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
so
hilly.
steep. It was a little bit more nerve-wracking as well because the weather was damp and I was worried about slipping, but we didn't. It was just, you just worried you were going to. I think all we can do with answering these questions is the first thing that comes to your mind, because otherwise you could sit here for hours thinking, couldn't you?
Yes, and you've got enough editing to do.
Exactly. How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
Short.
Right.
Fat. Mad.
That's it. That's your 3 words. Moving on. My question now.
How much taller or shorter would you like to be?
I'm quite happy at my height, actually. I like the idea of being a lot shorter than my partner. Well, I am shorter than him, but not a lot. But I do feel if you're shorter and you've got a slightly taller partner, you feel a bit protected. I like that.
You're a very traditional woman, aren't you?
Yeah, I am really. Even though sometimes I'm not. I do like to be in charge a bit. But no, I do. But I still like that feeling of. I mean, it's also that thing you see quite a lot of couples, don't you, where the woman is really, really short and the man's really, really tall. And I often wonder, is that they've got their own reasons for that? It's does the woman like the fact that he's big and he can protect her and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, tell a story about an encounter with a famous person.
Oh, famous. Actually, with a famous person.
You not met any famous people?
I've met actors from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, have you?
Because my middle child in particular had a Buffy obsession. And we went to a couple of we used to go to Milton Keynes,
yeah.
shopping centre. And they'd have these kind of, they call them like comic, you hear of Comic-Cons, don't you? It was that kind of thing where there would be lots of Buffy related stuff for sale, and there'd be a few of the actors that you could pay to have your photo taken with or get their autograph and things like that. So we went to a few of those. And we've talked before about how much I liked Spike.
Oh yes, yeah.
Who was the blonde punk looking guy.
Was it Tina? I think Tina liked him as well, didn't you, if I remember right?
Yes. Because people were either Spike or Angel, because they were the 2 people Buffy had relationships whip. Both vampires. So I met him a few times.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because he plays an Englishman in Buffy, but he's American.
Oh, is
he? Yeah, so I've met him.
He was the one with the white spiky hair, wasn't
Yes,
he? Yeah.
James.
No, I
can't remember his real name.
So he didn't do anything for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've talked before about Kate Bush's dad was my doctor.
That's right. Yeah.
But I never met Kate. I met Boy George's family as well.
Yes, you said about that.
Yeah, because he was local to us.
Mm.
And my very good friend knew his mum. And we actually went to an early culture club concert with a couple of his brothers.
That is your famous person encounter.
Tell us about an irrational fear you have.
I'm sure my fears are all rational. Fear, probably just the travel bit about flying and being on boats. I'm either frightened I'm going to drown or frightened I'm going to fall out of the sky, but I still do it. Is that irrational though?
I was going to say it's quite rational because you can't swim.
Yeah, with the boats bit, yes.
Yeah.
But as I find it, I'm saying it's irrational is the word. Because people always say to me, but the likelihood of it is, it's like with the boat. They say the boats wouldn't go out if it wasn't safe.
Yes.
And they wouldn't fly if it wasn't safe. But there's always that that little chance always.
You have got more chance.
But you have to just push yourself and just do
yeah.
it, don't you? Otherwise you wouldn't do anything. So.
Yeah, you're more likely to have a car accident than.
That's what they say, don't they? Yeah, I feel in the car. Generally, I feel safe. It's bizarre, isn't it?
I think sometimes it's a control thing because I think
think you're right.
In a car, I've got hold of the steering wheel, haven't I?
Yeah, you've got the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is a control thing because it's the same with. That's what I think. It's probably why I enjoy walking as well because you're in control of where you're going. And
Yeah.
What's the biggest surprise you've ever had?
Biggest surprise? Not big on surprise. I wouldn't like a surprise party or anything like that.
Sure.
No.
I'll cancel that then.
You were planning one for my 63rd birthday, were you?
Does it say pleasant? I can't remember now. Biggest surprise. So it doesn't necessarily say a good surprise. But the surprise, you wouldn't think of surprise being bad, would you?
I was thinking of someone dying and you want to go, surprise! Guess what? No, it'd have to be... Why can't I think of anything?
Perhaps you've not had any because you don't like them.
Yeah. No, I think
A surprise meeting of someone or any gifts you've got that you really wasn't expecting to get. No surprises for Sharon then. Okay. That's my turn. You got to ask
I will
me
think
now.
of something and I will text it to you in the middle of the night.
Okay.
If cash were tight, what's the first thing you'd throw out? Don't say dunk.
I suppose if cash was tight, and we've had to do it recently, is to probably eat out less.
Yes.
As much as I might hate it, but no,
Yes.
that would be one of the first things to go. Yeah. Do a couple more and then we'll stop for lunch, and maybe the next part will be part 2.
Tell a story about the weirdest thing you've ever eaten.
Oh.
I mean, we are in France.
Yeah, probably that boulot, I think. Yeah, boulot which is the I think they were whelks or something, but really chewy. But the other one that came to mind, which I spoke about in one of my videos, was that I'd ordered something which I thought was, well, I wasn't even totally sure what I was ordering, that I thought was kidney, and I think it might have been kidney, but it looked like a brain, but it tasted like kidney. I'm not sure how kidneys are in the body, I must admit. So maybe, are they made of nodules or little nodules, kidney? Or is that?
No, I don't think so. They're quite smooth, aren't they, kidneys?
I know a liver is, I'm not sure about kidneys. But anyway, that was the weirdest because I expected it to come in another form, but it came up and looked exactly like a brain on my plate.
You probably just ate a brain.
No, I don't think, definitely it would have said. But anyway, if it was tasty. Which of the 7 dwarfs are you most like?
Dozy. There's a sleepy one, isn't there?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm the sleepy one then, aren't I?
I suppose so, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I can think of, yeah.
Sleepy.
Yes, I was with sitting for too long.
Sleepy. I love my sleep. I love a good 10 hours. I did have a couple of late nights over the weekend, and I could do with the lie-in now. What was your best ever vacation?
Best ever. I've got too many of them. But I'd have to say probably the American one, because
Yes.
it was
I thought that's
such
what you'd say.
such a huge trip. I mean, it has its downsides, the fact that my son couldn't come with us, but yeah, because that's probably something that we'd never do again, and it was such a huge trip. And yeah, this
What did you
experience in America,
see?
as like a lot of people like to do. I think we've said in the travel one, because we saw Grand Canyon and Vegas and all that sort of. Yeah, it was amazing. And
Once in a lifetime.
Yeah, as I say, it was probably not going to happen again. And it was special as well, because it was Duncan organised it, one of our first big holidays together, and that as well. So, tell a story about your first pet.
I think my
Or
first
what was your
pet-
first pet? Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think my first pet was a canary
Oh,
called Pinky.
that's typical you, that is.
I think it was more to do with my little finger,
Oh, right.
because it was a baby when we got it. So
I was about the size of your pinky.
in the UK, your pinky's your tight little
Your
finger.
little finger, yeah.
Don't know if, again, that's elsewhere, but yeah, I think we had a canary and a canary and a couple of budgies, I think, before we moved on to cats and rabbits. Yeah,
Oh,
and
right.
it was definitely birds first. So yeah, and yeah, Pinky followed by a budgie called Sparky. I think everybody had budgies, didn't they?
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Years back,
It was
they
definitely
seem to be the
fashionable,
pets.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was budgies and dogs. I don't remember many people having cats back then, but then maybe it's because my family avoided them, because my dad hated cats.
Yeah. Tell a story about your first crush.
It's not particularly I had a crush on a boy at school, and I don't know how it came about, but he wanted to take me on a date eventually.
How old were you?
I was in secondary,
Oh.
so it might have been 13, 14.
Mm.
And as always was then, I was taller than most of the boys, because it's quite often the way, isn't it, when you're teenage, boys are always shorter. And I was very self-conscious about that, but thrilled to bits that this boy that I did like took me to the cinema. But the downside of that is he was using me, because we went on this date to the cinema, and he then in school the next day was telling everybody that he'd slept with me and stuff, and he hadn't. I always remember my mum being so upset about that for me. Yeah.
It was
So,
a
yeah,
big thing
so-
at that age, wasn't it?
What crushes on?
No, just about being a tart or a slut. Or...
Yeah, exactly. And that's what was like. And I couldn't be further from that sort of person.
Yeah.
Right, time for lunch. We'll carry on maybe on part 2 next.